In chapter 5, there's three main questions, and the first question is what's economy mean by supply between, and second question between the individual supply curve and the market supply curve. Third question is the factor that can cause a change in supply. So these questions are the main idea of the chapter 5 in economy. So for answer number 1, what's economy mean by supply? Supply is a fundamental economy concept that describes the total amount of a specific good or what services that is available to consumers. Supply can relate to amounts of available at specific prices or the amounts available across the range of the prices it's displayed in a graph. So what does that mean in supply? Supply is how much goods or products do you have, how much it contains, do the consumers want to buy it. That's one reason why they're called consumers, is to take or use the supply. The second question between the individual supply curve and the market supply curve. A supply curve is the graphical representation of the supplier's positive correlation between the price and the quantity of the good or services. As a result, the supply curve is upwarding sloping. The market is simulation the individual supply curves within specific markets. So the supply curve is mostly when the sales increase or decrease, such as individual supply markets. It's it's more as if there are more merchandises than only one person that's selling one stuff. So the supply curves, if the price is actually increased or decreased. And the third question of is the factors that can cause a change in supply. Just like the change in demand, change in supply actually shifts the supply curve. Six factors causes a change in supply: input cost, labor productivity, technology, government action, produces expectation, and the number of producers. Input cost of major factors that affects production costs and therefore supply. So all of these, such as input costs and labor productivity and the number of producers and producer expectation, are are actually the change of the supply, and they're the cause of the change of the supply. Number 4, the three types of elasticity that use using a graph organizer similar to the one below. So as it's shown in the book, there's a graph with three types of elasticity, and we need to talk about it. So the type of elasticity, therefore, types of elasticity, each of measuring the relationship between two sufficient economic variables. They are cross elasticity of demand, which measures the responsive of the quantity demand of one good, good X, to a change in price of another good, and good Y. So so these three types, all of them have their own role in elasticity, and each one defines a different type. For such of the words, one for most of the words that are important in chapter 4 are changing in quantity supplied is a change of specific quantity of a good that sellers are willing and able to sell. This change in quantity supplied is caused by a change in supply price. It is illustrated by the movement along a given supply curve. A supply curve is the graphical representation of the supplier's positive correlation between the price and the quantity of a good or service. As a result of the supply curve is upwarding sloping. Market supply by the summation of the individual supply curves within the specific market. Next, fixed costs often include rents, building machinery, and extra. Variable costs are costs that vary fixed output. Generally, variable costs increase the constant rates relative to labor capital. Variable costs may include wages, utilities, materials used in production, and extra. The marginal analysis is an examination of the additional benefit that activity compared to the additional cost and incur by the same activity. Companies and the marginal analysis as a decision making tool to help them maximize their partial profits. In economy, a production function relates physical input to the production process to the physical input or factor of production is the mathematical function relates to maximum amount of output and obtaining from a given number of input, generally in capital labor. So, as we see in chapter 5, it's wait in chapter 5